Hi there, you are highly welcome to You Can Dynamis Media. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about the tools in Photoshop, how they are used and what they are used for. So these items or these things right here are the tools in Photoshop. Those are the tools that are used for every design or every effect you apply in Adobe Photoshop. So we are going to start from the very first. To know the kinds of tools available, just right click on the tool and all tools there may be present. There may be more than one tool, but only one of the tools will be shown here. So if you want to see all the tools, just place your cursor on it and right click, and all the tools available will be shown. So the first tool here is called the Move tool. The Move tool moves a selection or a layer. Basically, what it means is that the Move tool, as the name goes, is used for movement. So I have my document here. If I left click and hold, I can drag or move this my document around or to anywhere I want with the help of the Move tool. So as you can see, the Move tool is used for movement, or the Move tool can be used to move one document or image onto another. So in Photoshop, Photoshop allows you to open more than one document or image. So, and each document you open is being represented here. So this here is for this document, and I have another document right here. If you click on it, it will also appear. So with the help of the Move tool, we are going to move this document right here onto the first one I showed you. So just left click and hold, and then move it, drag, drag, drag. Don't keep holding. Don't stop holding, sorry. Don't stop holding. Keep holding it and move it until the cursor reaches the first image, and then still holding it, bring it down here onto the document, and then just release, and it will be pasted there. So this is another use of the Move tool. It can be used to move one document onto the other. So anywhere you want to place this, you can actually place it or move it to that place or that side with the help of the Move tool. So if I want to position it down here, I can left click on it and then drag it down here. Or if I want to move it top there, I can left click and hold and move it there, anywhere you want to position it. So basically, that's the use of the Move tool. So let's move right to the next tool. So just right click. We are going to the second tool called Artboard Tool. So you can press Ctrl Z to undo. Okay, so just left click and then select the second tool called the Artboard Tool. What is the Artboard Tool used for? It creates, moves, or resizes multiple canvases. It creates, moves, or resizes multiple canvases. What is a canvas? A canvas is the workspace around an existing image within the image window. So with the help of the Art tool, the Artboard tool, I can just left click and drag and release. what the Artboard tool does is that where you drag the tool over, that place is going to be captured, or that area is going to be captured into a frame for you. So actually, you can add any number of canvases you want to add using the Artboard tool. But if you want the artboard, the new artboard you want to create to contain the content of this original artboard, you must first click and hold Alt, and then click on this plus that you see here. So if you hold Alt and click on the plus, you see that another artboard will be created. But since once you hold Alt, it will copy the content of the original or the previous artboard. So if you don't want to copy the content of the previous artboard, but if you want to just create a new artboard, you will not hold Alt. You just click on the plus here. Or you can just click on this, or you can just click on this and create different numbers of artboard you need or you want. Basically, that is the use of an artboard. So you can press Ctrl Z to undo. Okay, so we are going to the next tool, which is called the Rectangular Marquee tool. The Rectangular Marquee tool makes a selection in the shape of a rectangle. It makes a selection in the shape of a rectangle. So if I left click and drag like this, it's going to make a selection, but as you can see, it made the selection in the shape of a rectangle. So once I release, it's going to make that selection for me. What it means is that any command or any effect that you apply will only affect the selected area only. So if I hit on the delete key on my keyboard, the selected part is going to be deleted, as you can see. So once you select with the Rectangular Marquee tool, any effect or any command that you apply will only affect the selected area and not the whole document. So I can press Ctrl Z to undo, or you can right click, and then if I select layer via cut, I can just click on layer via cut, and then a new layer will be created for me. Basically, these things right here are called layers in Photoshop. This tutorial was not meant to explain a layer, but since I've mentioned it, let me give you just a gist about it. A layer is simply one image stacked on top of another. Photoshop Elements offers 5 kinds of layers: image, adjustment, fill, shape, and type. So this eye icon here, if you click on it, it will disappear. And what it means is that what the content that layer contains will disappear once you click on the eye icon of that particular layer. So if I click on this eye icon, that particular layer will be what? Deleted, which means this layer contains the selected area we made here or we selected here. So if I click on the eye icon for it to disappear, that part or that layer will also disappear. If I want you to come back, I just click again for the eye icon to appear, and that layer also will appear. So if I want to see the selected area only, I just come down here and hide this one. And you see, I'll be seeing only the selected part or the selected layer. Okay. Let's undo. You can press Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, so let's move to the next tool. The next tool here is called Elliptical Marquee Tool. Basically, the Elliptical Marquee Tool is similar to that of the Rectangular Marquee Tool, but the only difference is that the Elliptical Marquee Tool makes a selection in the shape of an ellipse. The Elliptical Marquee Tool makes a selection in the shape of an ellipse. So instead of the rectangular, it makes a selection. It also makes a selection, but it makes the selection in the shape of an ellipse. So if I left click and drag over like this and release, it's going to make a selection in the shape of an ellipse for me. So any command that you apply will affect only the selected part. So if I hit delete on my keyboard, that selected part only is going to be deleted. That's all about the Elliptical Marquee Tool. You can just press Ctrl Z to undo and then press Ctrl D to deselect. So let's move to the next tool. So the next tool we're going to talk about is the Single Row Marquee Tool. The Single Row Marquee Tool. The Single Row Marquee Tool makes a horizontal selection that is a single pixel high. So once you left click on it, see that it makes a horizontal selection, but that selection is just a single pixel wide. That's basically the use of the Single Row Marquee Tool. So let's move on to the next, which is Single Column Marquee Tool. Single Column Marquee Tool. The Single Column Marquee Tool makes a vertical selection that is a single pixel wide. It's just like the Single Row Marquee Tool, but the Single Column Marquee Tool, instead of making a horizontal selection, it makes a vertical selection that is a single pixel wide. So if I left click on this image, you could see that a selection is made, but that selection is just a single pixel wide. That is the use of the vertical or the Single Column Marquee Tool. Let's move to the next tool, which is called the Lasso Tool. The Lasso Tool. So I want to open a new document. So I'll go to File, Open, and then select this image right here for our next study or our next tool study. Okay, so our document is opened. So let's continue. The next tool is called the Lasso Tool. The Lasso Tool makes freehand selection. Freehand selection. So if you open a document like this and you see this lock icon here, it indicates that it is partially locked. So you can just click on this lock icon and your document will be open. Or you can just double click on it and then something will pop up here. You just click OK and it will open for you. So as we said, our Lasso tool makes freehand selection. So I can just left click. Sorry. I can just left click. And then move around the edges. Just any freehand selection I want. Any freehand selection. So you can just make a selection with a freehand. Anywhere you want to go, you can just go freehand selection. So for the sake of the tutorial, I cannot take time to make the selection. When you are trying, you can just take your time and make the selection around the edges. So, and you have to bring it back to the point where you started it. In order, after that, when you get to the point where you started, just to release it and a selection will be made for you. When it is being selected like this, any command you apply will affect only the selected area. So if I hit delete on my keyboard, that area I selected will be deleted. Or I can go for my move tool . I can go for my move tool and then I can move it out like this. Okay, so basically that's the use of the Lasso tool. The next on the list is what we call the Polygonal Lasso tool. Wow. Polygonal Lasso tool. Okay. The Polygonal Lasso tool creates straight edge selections. Straight edge selections. So basically, the Polygonal Lasso tool is also used for making selections. But just that, unlike the Lasso tool, for the Polygonal Lasso tool, when you left click and the selection is being made like this, unless you left click again or you click again, it won't change the direction. It will just continue going like this. It will just continue going. So you have to click again. Oh, sorry. So if I click like this, it will just be going unless you click again before it will change direction. And then if you left click again, it will change direction. And when you bring it back to the starting point, a selection will be made for you. Like that. So in the same way, any command you apply will affect only the selected area. So if I hit delete on my keyboard, only that selected area will be deleted. Or in the same way, if I go for my move tool I can just left click, hold, and move that part out. So basically, that is the use of the Polygonal Lasso tool. So the next tool is the Magnetic Lasso tool. The Magnetic Lasso tool. It makes a selection by snapping to image edges. It makes a selection by snapping to image edges. Okay, before we tackle this tool, let's tackle the next tool. After that, we'll come to this tool. That is the Magnetic Lasso tool. So let's move to our next tool here, called the Object Selection tool. The Object Selection tool. So with this tool, I want to select or open a new document here. I want to open a new document here. What this tool, the Object Selection tool does is that it finds and automatically selects an object inside a defined region. It finds and automatically selects an object inside a defined region. So what it means is that if you left click and hold, just drag over your image or your object. When you release, it's automatically going to select that object for you. When you just drag over the object and release, automatically that image is going to be selected for you. That's what the Object Selection tool does. So our next tool here is the Quick Selection tool. The Quick Selection tool. Okay, let me open a new document here. Okay, I'm going to use this my brother right here to demonstrate our tool, the Quick Selection tool. As the name goes, it's a selection tool, but it helps you to make that selection very quickly, very quickly. So what you're going to do here is, if you left click on the image, a selection is going to be made, and you can just move the selection around, and it's going to select basically the edges of the image for you. You're going to select the edges very quickly. It's very quick. You're going to select the edges, or you're going to do or make the selection for you very quickly. As you can see, the selection is being made very quickly. But in a case where the selection goes beyond what you want to select, you have to go here. Note the first one here is the plus. So if you want to take it back to the point where you want to select, you go and select the one here with the negative sign on it. Just click on it and then come back here. You left click and then you push it back like that. You left click and you can just push them back like that. And your selection will be made for you. Or if you want to increase the size of the tool, you can just come here, click on this drop down icon, and this will open for you. This is the size, any size that you want. You can just select any size at all that you want. So if I decide to go for my move tool, I can just move the selected part that has been selected. So basically that's what the quick selection tool does. It's used for making a selection very quickly, and it works best for sharp images like this. Okay. So let's move to our next tool. Our next tool right here is the Magic Wand tool. The Magic Wand tool. It selects similarly colored image areas. The Magic Wand tool selects similarly colored image areas. So if I have this image right here, and with the help of the Magic Wand tool, if I just left click, just one click, it's going to select similarly colored image for me. Similarly colored areas for me. So the area that I left click is going to select all the areas with the same or similar color as the area I did left click. So assuming I came here and I left click again, it will select all the area with the same or similar color as where I did left click. So similarly, if I left click here, it's going to select all the area with the similar or same color as where I did left click. Just one click and it is done. Okay, so we skipped one tool here. That is the Magnetic Lasso tool. What the Magnetic Lasso tool does is that it makes a selection by snapping to image edges. So as the name goes, magnetic, it's a kind of attracted to the edges of the image. So if I left click here and try to move around with the help of this tool, it will attract the edges of the image for me, and as I move around, it will be selecting the edges for me by attracting to the edges of the image or the document. Just like that. As you can see, you just be selecting the edges for me. Oh, I made a mistake, but let's keep moving. Just be selecting the edges to be attracted to the edges, and then to be selecting the edges for you, just like that. You see, it's being attracted to the edges as you make your selection, just like that. So basically, these are the tools we are going to discuss today, because we don't want the tutorial to be so long and boring. So in our next tutorial, we are going to start from the crop tool downwards. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe to our channel. God bless you and have a blessed moment. Thank you.